So we'll do a few examples here with this. Now, understand with chapter 12, I threw a few of these on here. There's not a ton that you guys will need to do. I mean, other than being able to apply a formula with this. Pretty straightforward questions with this chapter. And so we don't see each other tomorrow. We do see each other on Tuesday. Because Monday is Memorial Day. On Tuesday, I'll put up the answer key for the review. We'll go over any questions you guys have. So our chapter 12 chart is pink. And there's a ton of formulas we'll want to have for that. So volume and surface area for these three. Big thing to notice is volume, remember, is units cubed. Surface area is units squared. So we want our volume and surface area of this first one's a prism. And so we have to first figure out what the area of the base is. Remember, the bases are always parallel. So knowing what the base is important because it's parallel to the other base, and we need that for figuring out the different parts of these formulas. Just grab my formula sheet because I don't know if I don't want to write something out. Okay. So our surface area for our prism is 2B plus pH. Now, again, if you just write that down on your note card and you have no idea what any of that stands for, it's really useless on your note card. So I make sure that you guys are making sense of things. And then our volume is B times H. And the same B shows up in both places. Now the capital B is the area of the base. And now our base has to be this triangle because of the fact that it's the one that's actually parallel to the other base. So like the top of the shape doesn't make sense to be the base because it's not parallel to anything. So the base is actually, it's kind of turned on its side there. So we're going to do base times height divided by 2 for that area of our base. Now, I'm going to probably use the one down here instead. So my base and height is 3 and 4. So 12 divided by 2, so 6. So that's our capital B. So I use that in both of those formulas. Now the capital P is the perimeter of the base. Which is just the distance around this shape. So that's going to be 3 plus 4 plus 5. So 12. So that's P. So and then our height is how tall the shape is if it's sitting on its base. So again, picture yourself tipping this over. So what's the height going to be? It's going to be this 3. This is going to be our height. So again, picture it tipping down onto the base. That would be the height. And just making sure you're doing things in the right order. So you're multiplying, and then you're adding. So our surface area would be 48. Right, feet squared. And then our volume would just be area of the base times the height. So 18. Now for our sphere, we're gonna use, we need the radius, first of all. So they tell us the diameter here, so this is D. So that means our radius is 12 inches. And we need that for both of our formulas for surface area and volume of our sphere. Now remember, when you use pi, and we want to use the value pi in our calculator, not 3.14. I'll grab my calculator for that, because I'm not going to do that in my head. And it might give you an answer with pi if you use one of my calculators.
Or if you just use any Texas one, probably.
No, some of the Texas Instrument ones do round, so it depends on if they have that radical feature. I think it's like, I think if you have the X in the name, I think it leaves the pi in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like mine doesn't give me the pi.
Right, yeah. So not all Texas Instruments, so yeah. So then this one here. Now I like to do the whole top, so I do 4 times pi times r cubed all together, and then I divide it by 3. And that's what I got. Let me know if we got something different. And then finally we'll go to the cone on the bottom. And that's another one where you need to know what some of the symbols mean. It uses an L, like that cursive L, and that's called that slant height. So that's important to be aware of what that is. So you don't want to just write the formula down if you don't know what everything stands for. For our cone, our surface area formula is pi r squared plus pi r L. And then our volume so I have my 2 formulas here. So in our cone, obviously the radius is the radius of the circle. So they give us the radius in this case. So this is r. Through the middle, that would technically be the height of the cone. They just have it sitting kind of on the side. But then that L, that diagonal height, is the hypotenuse of that triangle. So we're going to have to figure out what that L is. And we'll use the Pythagorean theorem for that. That's a little right triangle. I get L is about 7.28-ish. Again, the more accurate I can be with that, the better off we'll be in terms of our answer. So like if I can use that exact value, I will. So when I go to put this in, I'm actually gonna work my way kind of this way so that I can leave that long answer in my calculator. We've talked about trying to be more exact. And then adding it to the rest of it. So I got like 58.3 miles squared. For my surface area. And the volume's pretty straightforward, however you go about that. So I got a 29.3 for my volume. If that sounds right. Okay. So for Tuesday, I would like you guys to finish as much of the review as you guys can finish. So obviously you don't get to every single question, perfectly fine. Bring questions on Tuesday. We'll go over questions, but trying to get as much of it as you can get done. That way you guys can check your work, make sure you know what you're doing. Otherwise we can answer questions you have. So that's for Tuesday. So we're gonna hopefully finish the review. If you haven't yet finished your note card or haven't been working on that yet, I would like definitely suggest that. I won't collect the review until the exam day. That way you have it for exams, but that's when it has to be done. Okay. Yeah.